I think it's high time that you guys learn about the Windermere palm. It's Trachycarpus Latisectus. It's from a region of the Himalayas called Sikkim. It used to be called Trachycarpus sikkimensis because it's from the Sikkim mountains in the Himalayas in India. And this is a really cool palm that we grow. Not many people do, but we do. And you're probably very familiar. Look at that white tomentos on the, not only on the emerging spears, but also on the edge. Whoa. If you could only feel the tactile sensation I'm feeling now. Oh, it feels so good. Anyway, you could do the same thing if you have one of these in your garden. You can get one from Golden Gate Palms in Richmond, California. Thank you very much. But look, sometimes it makes a full circle. Look at that, pretty. So you're probably familiar with Trachycarpus fortunei. And what you'll notice about the difference between this one and that one is that this has a very flat frond. See, it's flat in the same plane, which makes it look really tropical and really perfect. It also tends to make a full circle. Not often, but well, often, but not always. Not always, but often. See, case in point. Yeah, and it gets the hair on the trunk. A lot of people don't like the hair on Trachycarpus fortunei because it's all over the place, you know. And some people don't like that. Some people like a little neat, like, you know, more sort of, I don't know if you want to call it a Brazilian cut or what you want to call it, but a little bit neater to the trunk. And the other cool thing about this tree is the fronds come off readily, easily, and that causes the tree to be self-cleaning in time, and therefore you don't have to spend a whole bunch of time skinning the bark off the tree. We're starting to see the ringed trunk on the bottom of this one here. See, that one's not quite ready to come off. I could probably make it come off. See, it doesn't come. There's no way you could do that with a Trachycarpus fortunei. It would not give it up that easily. But these guys come right off, right? See that? So ultimately, you're going to end up with this really beautiful ringed trunk naturally. And the only way to get that from a Trachycarpus fortunei is to get a blade out and do it, you know, intentionally. So I planted these palms here with a little bit of Rhopalostylus mixed in, but you can see it's a much more tropical looking version of Trachycarpus than fortunei, and the frond is much more perfect. And I don't know, I just love it. I think it's great, but people don't really know about this plant, and so that's where I come in. Do my duty to humanity. So, but look at it's also more translucent. Let's look at the sun through the lens of a Trachycarpus. Look at that. Gorgeous, huh? Yeah, it's more translucent than a typical Trachycarpus. More tropical. The hair is tighter to the trunk. It's not quite as cold hardy, but in the Bay Area, that doesn't matter because it's hardy enough, you know. You might not be able to grow it all the way up into like Canada, like fortunei, but you can certainly grow it up all through California below 2,000 foot elevation. And yeah, they're fantastic. They're kind of a narrow, you know, they're kind of a narrow tree. They only get about maybe 8-9 feet across when they're fully mature. And then their trunks are only about 6-8 inches wide. So they look great in groups. These will eventually grow up into the sky, but until then, they're beautiful at eye level. And sometimes they'll even get these white stripes. See the white stripes in here on the fronds? Kind of similar to Trachycarpus mardianus, but different. Anyway, so if you really want like a beautiful sort of tropical looking fan palm, it also has this gleam, this glistening gleam to it, much more so than fortunei. So pretty much every aspect of this palm is better than Trachycarpus. You guys stop flying planes over me every time I try to make a video? Every time you guys fly over, you're like, oh, he's making a video, let's ruin it. Anyway, yeah, in every regard, it's pretty much better in all categories than the Trachycarpus fortunei, the common one. The only difference being that if you wanted to grow a bunch of epiphytes in the trunk, you could still do it on this tree, but Fortunii would be better because it's got much more of a shag to it, 70s shag. And the only other thing that's better about Trachycarpus Fortunii is that it's a little more cold hardy. So that's pretty much the difference. And Fortunii probably holds up in the wind better. This is a bit more of a delicate frond structurally than a Fortunii. So this probably grew up where there wasn't as much wind pressure on the plant. So those are the differences. Anyway, Trachycarpus Fortunii, and now you know.